All right. Hey, Salties. I think we are on. It looks like the camera and the audio is are rolling. So let's get right into it. Happy Wednesday. I'm Cait. If you're joining me live, happy Wednesday. If you're watching the replay, welcome. Thanks for being here. And I'm really excited for today's practice. July in Puerto Rico, we don't get a whole lot of surf. I haven't surfed in a couple of weeks now. So I was inspired today to take you all through a cross training flow. So this is a nice practice to do like between swells or during the off season, if you haven't been surfing a lot. And if you have been surfing a lot or training a lot, just feel free to kind of modify anything we do, just not to like irritate or overwork any of your muscles. So we're going to be looking at some good, like some balance of stability and mobility around the joints, some good stuff for the shoulders and the hips, of course. A little bit of eccentric work, focused work to encourage long and strong and resilient tissues. And then we'll also do a few moves that kind of mimic surfing to keep that muscle memory. So super excited for this practice. I'm going to step back on my mat. You won't necessarily need any props. Actually, I take that back. Grab at least like a thick towel or blanket just for the end. If you like using a block or any other props, feel free to grab those, but won't necessarily need any props today. Maybe just a little bit of cushioning or padding or elevation for the end. So let's get right into it. Come onto your back to begin. Start out with your knees bent and your feet flat. You can let your knees lean in against one another if that's comfortable for you there. And maybe even closing the eyes or softening the gaze here for a moment to just tune in. Give yourself this opportunity to arrive here for your practice, for maybe your cross training today. And then start to tune into your breath. Without a whole lot of force, see if you can just slow it down a little bit, smooth it out a little bit. Maybe sensing a little bit more fullness with every breath in, and just a little bit more depth there with every breath out. And we'll be starting out today with a little bit of breath work combined with some kind of focused work for the inner thighs. So let's come into Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees open wide, like a reclined butterfly pose there. And just notice where your low point is. I think we've done these before. You don't need to force your knees all the way down to the ground. Just notice where your low point is today as you let your legs kind of passively hang out in the shape. And then keep the soles of the feet together, keep the pinky toe edges of the feet on the floor, and lift your knees as high as you can without lifting the feet up. And again, it doesn't really matter how high they go, just landmark that as your high point. Then let your knees come back down to your low point. We're gonna add in some of that Viloma Pranayama, that stacking breath. So we'll be inhaling in thirds, and then it'll be a slow, continuous breath out. And we're gonna add in some movement with the legs there. So as we inhale a third of the way, you'll lift the knees a third of the way. A little pause, inhale, lift another third, pause, inhale, lift all the way up to your high point. As you fill all the way up, there'll be that pause, and then again, a slow, continuous breath out as you control the legs and kind of smoothly drop them back down to their low point. So let's start together. Go ahead and empty your breath out on the floor, and then inhale a third of the way, lift the knees a third of the way, and pause. Inhale, lift another third, and pause. Inhale as you fill up, lift the knees to their high point, pause. Exhale, slowly lower for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're back in your low point. Let's do that twice more. So inhale and lift a third of the way, pause. Inhale, lift another third of the way, and pause. Inhale, fill up and lift up, pause. Exhale, slowly lower, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that once more. Let your head drop back. Soften the jaw and the neck. Inhale and lift a third. Pause. Inhale, lift another third, and pause. Inhale, fill up, lift up. Pause at the top. Exhale, slowly lower. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Pause there at the bottom. Take a breath in. Let this be passive. Stay for the breath out. And then maybe bring your hands outside your legs, help your knees back up, feet flat, maybe rock the legs out a little bit. If it would feel good, give the knees a hug in towards the chest. You can continue to roll around. And then we're gonna meet up in tabletop. So you can either rock the length of your spine to get there, roll to one side and press yourself up to get there. Let's come on over to hands and knees. And if you do need some additional padding, that's where a blanket or a towel might come in handy. Coming onto all fours, let's come back to the breath. And then maybe even tuck your toes under here. If you don't like it, you can untuck them, but check that out. So next time you breathe in, drop the belly, lift the chest. Here's our cow pose. As you exhale, tuck the tail around the spine and maybe explore sinking the hips back towards the heels, kind of like child's, but you're not coming all the way back. So do that 2 more times. Inhale, shoulders over wrists. Drop the belly, lift the chest. Exhale, tuck the tail around the spine, sink the hips back. 1 more round. Inhale as you come forward. Exhale, tuck the tail and round. Good. Then inhale, come on back up through tabletop. Use some of that cat-cowing to create feedback to help you find a neutral spine. We're going to keep the spine relatively neutral now. As you next inhale, take the left leg back behind you and ground the ball of the foot on the floor. As you exhale, find a little cinching in around the waist just to create some of that support there for the low back. Right hand behind the head. And as you next breathe in, take your right elbow towards the sky. Feel that right shoulder blade slide back towards the spine. So we're finding just a little bit of rotation through the mid-back without dropping that left hip. As you exhale, just return to where you started. 2 more like that. Inhale, hug that right shoulder back. Find a little rotation. It's subtle. Let that be okay. Exhale, come on back. Do that 1 more time. Inhale. Good. Exhale, release. As you inhale, take your right arm forward and maybe float the left toes up, again, without dropping the belly. Exhale, elbow to knee without rounding the spine. So be okay if the elbow and knee don't touch. Inhale, lengthen. Now as you exhale, swim that right hand back, bend your left knee, and imagine you're trying to kick the ceiling with your left heel. So lift that left thigh without dropping the belly. Reach that right hand back. 2 more like that. Inhale, arm and leg long. Exhale, elbow to knee. Try not to round. Inhale, arm and leg long. Exhale, swim the hand back. Lift that left thigh, lift that left heel. 1 more. Inhale, arm and leg long. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, arm and leg long, and then swim the hand back. Lift that left heel, feel left hamstrings, left glutes. Good. Then inhale, arm and leg long 1 more time. As you exhale, drop your left knee down. And as you inhale, we're going to peel that right hip open on top of the left for this modified side plank. So left hand continues to push the mat away from you. Feel that bottom hip hugging in to lift the top hip, and then hover that top leg there and find just a little pulse with the top leg. Feel that connection to the outer hips, maybe starting to feel that outer right hip fire up a little bit and say hello. Go for 3, 2, 1. Breath in. As you exhale, come on over slowly and bring the ball of the right foot to the floor now. So second side. So my right foot's grounded, hugging around the waist. We'll keep that neutral spine, left hand behind the head there. As you inhale, left elbow towards the ceiling. Think about sliding that left shoulder blade back towards the spine. Again, just finding a little rotation through the mid-back. It's a fairly small movement. Try not to drop that right hip. As you exhale, come back to where you started. 2 more. Inhale, left shoulder up. Left shoulder glides back. Left elbow up, left shoulder glides back. Exhale to where you started. Do that 1 more time. Inhale. Good. Exhale, release. Take the left fingertips forward, hover that right leg, and really hug in around the belly so you're not kind of dropping into the low back there. See if you can maintain that length in the spine. So breath in here, arm and leg long. Exhale, elbow to knee, try not to round. Inhale, arm and leg long. Exhale, swim that left hand back, bend your right knee, and think about kicking that right heel skyward. So we're lifting that right thigh bone without dropping the belly. Reach back. Good. 2 more. Inhale, arm and leg long. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, arm and leg long. Exhale, swim the hand back, lift that left heel. 1 more time. Inhale, arm and leg long. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, arm and leg long. Exhale, swim the hand back, lift that left heel. Right heel. Feel right hamstrings, right glute. If I've been saying left, it's right. Good, then take a breath in, arm and leg long. Exhale, drop that right knee to the floor. We're coming into that modified side plank on the right, so peel that left hip open. Right hand pushes the mat away. Outer right hip hugs in to lift the hips a little higher. And then hover that top leg there. Find a little pulse at the top. Feel that spark of connection to the outer left hip. Maybe a little fatigue, just getting that stabilizing muscle on line there. Go for 3, 2, 1, breath in. As you breathe out, come on back over, tabletop, and then find plank pose. Walk the hands forward, tuck the toes, float the knees. Take a breath in, get long from heart to heels. As you breathe out, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Now take a breath or two here to pedal out the feet, drop the head, kind of feel into this first downward dog. And then find stillness here in your down dog, plugging into both hands, both feet. Really spread your fingers, push the mat away from you. Feel that kind of buoyancy there through the ribs and the hips. And then bend your knees. Think about sending your belly back towards your thighs, and maybe you notice you can get a little bit longer through the sides of the waist. Then we're going to stay in this kind of turbo dog, sitting bones lifting and spreading. Again, hands really pushing the mat away. This will be the breath in. On the breath out, we're going to shoot forward into chaturanga. So shoot forward, bend the elbows. Inhale, lift the hips up and back, turbo dog. So we'll continue that a few more times. Exhale, forward, chaturanga, catch yourself. Inhale, hips up and back. And then continue that. And if you want to modify, knees down, child's pose. Exhale, chaturanga on the knees. So a good option if you've been training a lot or surfing a lot and your shoulders and chest and back are a little tired. Otherwise, take 2 more rounds. Inhale, back. Exhale, shoot forward. 1 more. Inhale, back. Exhale, come forward to chaturanga. Inhale, take upward dog. Flip onto the tops of the feet. Hips are lifted, elbows are straight. Good. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift the hips, drop the head. Whew, I don't know about y'all. It's warm today. I'm already getting a nice sweat going. Feels good. Good. Next inhale, lift the right leg skyward. As you exhale, step the right foot through, lower the left knee down. And then hug the legs in enough that you can get light in the hands, coming all the way up into a low lunge. All right, so I'm not just dropping into the hips. It's pretty active. I'm kind of scissoring, hugging my legs in there. Let's bend the elbows, palms face forward. We're here in cactus arms. On the inhale, you're going to hug the shoulder blades back to open the chest. And you can stay here. Keep that engagement in the legs. Maybe lower a little bit. But again, notice it's not like this passive drop. It's kind of this controlled lower in. So this will be the breath in. On the breath out, you're going to lean the hips back towards your left heel. Sweep the fingertips back as you reach the heart forward. Finding a little hamstring stretch. Again, just work with your range of motion. We don't need to force this. We want to keep it active. So 2 more with the breath. Inhale into your lunge. Shoulder blades hug back. Exhale, half splits. Fingertips reach back. 1 more. Inhale as you come into that lunge. And then exhale as you come into half splits. Good. Next inhale, plant the left hand inside of the right foot. Float that left knee up. Inhale, take the right arm forward. And as you exhale, take the right arm to the sky. So now we're in a revolved lunge. So a new little combo. This will be the breath in, revolve low lunge. As you breathe out, you're going to pivot your feet towards the, pivot your feet, walk your hands around towards your left foot. And we're coming either into like a skater pose. See, my hips are a little bit more lifted here. I'm keeping my heart above my hips. You could also kind of come down into more of like a skandasana. I've got a few little toe injuries on my left side, so I'll probably stay up in skater. But know that skandasana a little bit lower is an option too. And then just to get some movement through the mid back and the shoulders, I'm going to take my right hand down, my left arm up. So we're going to flow between the two. Go ahead and empty the breath out here. Inhale, pivot forward, revolve low lunge. Give yourself time with the breath. Exhale, back to skater, or skandasana. 1 more. Inhale, forward lunge. Exhale, skater or skandasana. Good. Inhale, forward lunge. Plant the hands, step back through plank, lower to the floor. Point the toes back, anchor through the pubic bone, and then bring the right hand behind the head, left hand behind the back. Left palm is facing up, right palm is facing down. All right, now you can lift your head a little bit here. I'm keeping my head lifted so my voice isn't muffled. You could also keep your forehead down. Just keep that anchoring through the pubic bone so the low back stays broad. And then keeping that, next time you breathe in, see if you can hover your hands there. And just maintain that. Soften the jaw, soften the face. Maybe it gets a little shaky. Stay for 3, 2, 1. Good. Release the hands, hands under the ribs, cobra pose. Inhale, both shoulders hug back. Good. Exhale, release. Inhale, back up, downward facing dog. Exhale as you settle in, and give yourself another breath here. All right, second side, inhale, left leg up. Exhale, left foot steps through, drop the right knee. Again, hug the legs in so that you can get light in the hands. Come all the way up into your lunge. Feel that hugging in. We want to maintain that through this lunge. Bend the elbows, palms face forward. So inhale, it'll be shoulders hug back. Again, maintaining that hugging in, maybe drop the hips a little bit. As you exhale, lean the hips back towards your right heel, float your left toes up, and reach the hands back, half splits. All right, 2 more. Inhale as you come forward to that low lunge. Hug the shoulders back. Exhale, lean the hips back, half splits. 1 more like that. Inhale, come forward to that lunge. Exhale, hips lean back. Good. Next inhale, plant your right hand inside the left foot. Pop that back knee up. Reach that left arm forward. And as you exhale, open up into a twist, left arm to sky. All right, so this is the breath in here. We're in this revolve low lunge. On the breath out, you're going to pivot your feet. Lean towards that right foot, towards the back of the mat, and you're coming into your skater or skandasana. Whatever you prefer and whatever you can kind of move in and out of fairly effortlessly. So stay for the breath out here. Let's flow 2 times with the breath. Inhale, revolve low lunge. Exhale, back to skater, skandasana to the right side. Last one, inhale, lunge. Exhale, skater, skandasana. Good. Inhale, lunge, front of mat. Exhale, step back through plank, lower to the floor. Good. Point the toes back, anchor through the pubic bone. And now left hand behind the head, right hand behind the low back. Again, left palm facing down, right palm facing up. You can keep the forehead down or lift the head, just keep anchoring through the pubic bone. Then as you're ready, hover the hands. Might feel a little different on this side, that's okay. And see if you can soften the jaw and the neck. Focus on the shoulders. Woo, getting a little shaky. Stay for 3, 2, 1. Good. Release the hands under the shoulders. Hug both shoulder blades back. Inhale, broaden the chest, cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, up and back, downward facing dog. And exhale to empty out there. Drop the head. Give yourself a breath. Awesome. We're going to come off the hands briefly here. So when you're ready, look forward. Between the hands, lift the heels, bend the knees. Exhale, you can step or hop to the front of the mat. Good. Inhale, lift up halfway. Find that length through the spine. Find that cinching in around the waist. Connect to that deep support of your core. Exhale, empty back into a fold. Let the head hang. Let this feel good for a moment. And the next inhale, come on up into chair pose. So bend the knees, drop the hips, lift the chest, lift the arms. As you breathe out, start to shift your weight over into that right footprint. As you inhale, take the left knee to the chest. As you exhale, you're going to come into a twist, taking the right arm forward and the left arm back. So see if you can keep your frontal hip bones pointing forward as you rotate the ribs into that twist. So feel that twist in the upper body. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, see if you can keep that twist in the upper body. Sweep that left leg back, half moon, open that left hip, and then left toes point towards the long edge of the mat. So we're going to kind of combine all of that into more of like a smooth flow. So empty out the breath here. Inhale, left knee to chest, and come up, standing knee to chest, heart forward. Exhale as you sweep that left hand back, left leg back, open up half moon. Good. Come forward. Inhale, exhale, sweep that left leg back. You've got 2 more. Inhale, knee to chest. Exhale, sweep that left leg back, open up. Last one, inhale, knee to chest. Exhale, left leg sweeps back. Pause in that half moon, pause here. And just like in those side planks, find a little pulse with that top leg. And keep in mind, you can stay up as high as you'd like to here in half moon, or you could be a little bit more parallel. Go for 3, 2, 1. Land that left foot slowly. Pivot your feet. And we're coming into reverse warrior at the back of the mat. So left foot's kind of like the leading foot. So bend into that front knee. Inhale, take that left arm up and back. Feel a nice little stretch there through that left side. Stay for 1 more breath in. And then as you breathe out, step your right foot up to meet the left. We're back in chair. Keep the hips low. Inhale, lift the ribs and the arms. Exhale, shift your weight into that left footprint now. Inhale, right knee to chest. Then exhale, see if you can keep your hips square as you twist. So left arm forward, right arm back. Good, now see if you can keep the ribs in this position as you just sweep that right leg back, find half moon. Open the hips, so right toes, right knee are pointing towards the long edge of the mat. So let's kind of combine all that and make it a little bit more smooth. So inhale, knee to chest, heart forward. Whew, one side might be more stable than the other. Exhale, sweep it back, half moon. Good, inhale, knee to chest. Exhale, half moon. 2 more, inhale, knee to chest. Try not to rush it, but let the breath lead you. Exhale, half moon. Last one, inhale, knee to chest. Exhale, half moon. We'll pause there. Find that little pulse with the top leg. Remember, you can stay up a little higher if you need to. And then we're here for 3, 2, 1. Land that right foot slowly. Pivot the feet. Reverse warrior with that right foot as the front foot. So now we're facing the front of the mat. Bend the knee. Inhale. Right arm up and back. Stay for a breath. And then take one more inhale here. As you exhale, step the left foot up to meet the right. Keep the knees bent. Last time in chair. Inhale, stand up tall, mountain pose. Exhale, soften the knees, hinge from the hips, fold. Let the head drop there. Inhale, lift up halfway once again. Lengthen, connect to that deep core. Exhale, step back through plank. Lower to the floor. And then right hand behind the head, palm facing down. I'm going to just move some of my props out of the way. Left hand behind the back, palm facing up. Now, again, if it would just feel better, you can keep the head and the legs down. That's just really going to isolate a lot of the movement in the shoulders. But as long as you're not dumping into the low back, anchor through the pubic bone. Inhale, lift the head and chest, lift the legs. And then hover the hands like we were doing. And then keep that as you inhale, reach the hands apart. We're going to switch them out. As you exhale, sweep the arms out to the side, both palms face down. Inhale, left arm reaches forward, right hand reaches back, roll that right palm up, and then exhale, bend the elbows. So now we've swapped. And we're going to swap one more time. So inhale, the hands apart. Exhale, the hands to the side. Inhale, right arm forward, left arm back, flip that left palm up. Exhale, bend the elbows, hover. Good, exhale, release hands under the shoulders. Now here's the fun part. We're going to do 5 pop-ups on whatever is your normal stance. So if you're goofy foot, regular foot, 5 pop-ups in your normal stance. So as you're ready, take a breath in. As you breathe out, pop up. Good, then step back, plank, lower to the belly. 4 more. Pop. You can go a little bit faster here, kind of like burpee style if you'd like to. You can slow it down. If you've been surfing or training a lot, you can skip these. You've got, what, 1 more after this one? Let's do 1 more after this one. 1 more. Good, then come on back down to the belly. Slow down the breath. Anchor the pubic bone. Left hand behind the head, right hand behind the back. Let the hands rest on the head and the back for a moment, right palm up. Again, anchor through the pubic bone, lift the chest, lift the legs, then hover the hands, and then let's make those circles. So inhale, split the hands apart. Exhale, out to the side, palms face down. Inhale, right arm forward, left arm back. Roll that left palm up. Exhale, bend the elbows and hover. Let's go back to where we started. Inhale, the arms apart. Exhale, arms to the sides, palms down. Inhale, left arm forward, right arm back. Roll that right palm up. Exhale, hover. Good, release the hands. Now we've got 5 pop-ups on your non-dominant side, the awkward side, not your normal stance. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, pop up. And let it feel awkward. Embrace maybe the novelty, the awkwardness. Remember, you can go fast, you can go slow, burpee style. For 3, feels a little awkward for me on this side. 2, it's good to train both. 1, keep that balance. Good, then come on down to the floor. Inhale, just take a cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, press up and back, downward dog. 1 last standing sequence here. Focusing on some strength and length for the quads. Woo! That one got me, y'all. Feeling good, feeling sweaty. Slow down the breath. Maybe close the eyes for a moment. Allow yourself to reconnect. So much of a skill in surfing, right? Is like we're paddling hard either to get out or get through the set, or, you know, we're on a wave riding, and then either we fall and we got to hold our breath, we're paddling hard to get through the set and we don't make it, and then we've got to calm ourselves down, hold our breath, take the set on the head. So notice this ability to kind of calm yourself down immediately. Smooth out the breath. Reset. Good. The next inhale, sweep your right leg up. As you exhale, step your right foot forward. We're coming up to high lunge, so plant the feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Then as you exhale, we're going to take an open twist. So it's going to feel a little bit awkward. You're going to take your right arm forward and your left arm back. So you're twisting towards the left. Now this is going to be the inhale. The front knee is bent and the left leg is relatively straight. On the exhale, you're going to bend your left knee, straighten your right leg, and imagine that you are trying to reach back and tap your left heel. And you probably won't tap it, maybe you will. I'm not close. Just kind of landmark that. And then we'll flow between the two. So inhale, bend the front knee, lengthen the left leg. Again, we're kind of keeping our upper body in this position. Exhale, bend the left knee and reach back for that left heel. Let's go for 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Slow down the exhale. Control the movement. 1 more. Inhale. Good. Exhale. Good. Then inhale, come back through that lunge. Sweep the left arm up, heart forward. Exhale, get the left hand down inside of that right foot. Maybe wiggle that left foot back a little bit there. Inhale, right arm up. Here's that revolve low lunge. As you exhale, you're going to roll into the pinky toe edges of your feet. I've injured my left pinky toe, so it's a little awkward for me on this side. Dang pinky toe. You don't realize how much you need it till you hurt it. All right, left hand, outer edge of that left foot's pressing the mat away, and see if you can keep that as you step your right leg up and over the left leg. You're going to land it behind that left foot, or left leg rather, right foot on the floor. Everything touching the floor, ground down, lift the hips, rotate the heart skyward, hug that right shoulder back. Wild thing. Take a breath in, lift the hips. Take a breath out, come on over dog. Drop your head. Again, a moment to reset. Come back to the breath. Slow it down, smooth it out. Second side, inhale, lift the right leg. Exhale, step it through. High lunge, inhale, come on up. Exhale, here's our awkward twist. So left arm forward, right arm back. So we're rotating the heart towards the right edge of the mat. Now this is going to be the inhale, left knee bent, right leg relatively straight. On the exhale, you're going to swap legs. So you're going to bend the right knee, straighten the left leg, and then reach back with the right hand. You're kind of tipping back like you were going to tap your right heel. Okay, so inhale as you bend the front knee, come back through that lunge. Exhale, bend the right knee, straighten the left, reach back. Sweat is pouring down my face. It feels good. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last 2. Inhale. Exhale. See if you're gripping, or notice if you're gripping with the jaw or the neck, and see if you can soften there. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale back into your lunge. Take the right arm up, heart forward. Exhale, right hand to the mat inside the left. Wiggle that right foot back. Low lunge on the breath in. On the breath out, roll into the pinky toe edges of the feet. You can slide that left foot back a little bit there. Again, right hand pushes the mat away. Outer edge of that right foot pushes the mat away. Feel that bottom hip hug in to lift the hips, and then see if you can keep that as you step the left leg up and behind that right leg. Plant the left foot. Everything touching the floor, grounds down. Inhale, lift the hips. Maybe roll the heart up, hug that left shoulder back. Open the chest, stay there for the breath in. As you breathe out, come on over, downward facing dog. Last down dog. Once you arrive, drop your head. Again, reset, slow down the breath. Dive inward, let go of the shapes, let go of the movements, and just notice how you're feeling. From here, we're going to come through to our seats and then onto our back. So if you'd like to step or play with hopping through to your seat. And then this is where you might want your, if you've got a block or a foam roller or a thick towel or blanket. So we're We're going to come into supported bridge. We're going to do a little bit of love for the hip flexors. So I'll demo with the block. Today I might use the blanket because that just sounds like it would feel nice. If you're using a blanket, you're going to kind of make a foam roller. So you'll fold it up. Mine's kind of folded up a few times. And then you're going to roll up one edge pretty thickly and tightly. So it kind of makes a little bolster with your blanket. So to set this up, we'll come on down to our backs, knees bent, feet flat. And then you'll press into your feet enough to slide whatever you're using under your hips. If you're using a block, I'm going to recommend you keep it on its lowest height. Block under the hips. Notice that your low back's hanging off of it. Or that could be a foam roller, or again, it could be the roll of a towel or a blanket. So just something under the hips there. We're going to do just a little bit more kind of lengthening and strengthening now for the hip flexors. Kind of continuing working in that front line of the body. So from here, bring your knees in towards your chest. And just notice how as you do that, your low back kind of drops towards the floor. And we're just going to want to keep that position of the spine. So notice that low back dropping as opposed to the low back kind of lifting away. So knees to chest, low back dropping. You're going to interlace your hands around your left knee, and you're going to keep that left knee close in towards the belly. That's going to help keep the spine in that position. As you inhale, take your right leg skyward and really activate it. So you can flex the foot, feel calves, quads, hamstrings all engaged. And then keep that as you slowly lower that right leg. And what we want to do here is find that point just before the low back's going to lift away. So you could even take it to that point, right? If you lower the leg low enough, eventually that low back's going to have to lift away to get that leg low. So come up a little bit from there so the low back can stay dropping. Keep that right leg really, really active, really engaged. And when you find that point, again, just these small little pulses there. Seeing if you can connect to that hip flexor, kind of through the front of that right hip crease, maybe feeling a little inner thigh. We just did some stuff for the quads, so you might feel the quads here as well, but we're focusing a little bit more on those hip flexors. Go for 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to make this passive, so soften your grip a little bit on that left knee. Allow that right heel to find the floor, so notice the low back's going to lift away. And then we're just kind of in this nice passive hip flexor stretch. So your left knee is going to be like a release valve. The more you squeeze the knee in, maybe the more you feel through the front of that right hip. So you can also let that left leg move away. If this is too much for the low back, you can always bend through that right knee a little bit. And if you feel like you want a little bit more sensation, just gently press that right heel down into the floor. Just stay here for a few breaths. Again, dropping back into the breath, slowing it down, smoothing it out. Good, then from here, just bring that right knee back in to meet the left. Again, notice the movement of the low spine, how it drops towards the floor. We're gonna wanna keep that for this first bit. Interlace your hands around the right knee and give that right knee a good squeeze in towards the belly and the chest. We'll inhale, extend that left leg up, and you can flex the foot. Feel that left leg really active. So calves, quads, hamstrings. Leg stays relatively straight. And then keeping that right knee in, keeping that left leg engaged, start to slowly lower that left leg. And it could be different side to side, so do your own experiment here. Again, a lot of times I find it helpful to kind of go to that point where I feel my low back beginning to lift away. It's about right there. So I'm going to lift my leg up a little bit out of that so my low back stays dropping towards the floor. So keep that, find that threshold, find that edge, keep that left leg really engaged, and then find these little pulses. So we're actively lengthening, but also engaging the psoas and the hip flexors to make these muscles long and strong. They can often be kind of tight and weak just because we spend a lot of time in hip flexion, whether it's sitting or squatting. I mean, sitting on a surfboard, a lot of times our kind of like stance surfing has a lot of hip flexion. So go for 3, 2, 1, maybe you feel a little burn there, and then let it become passive now. So I'm allowing my left foot to find the floor, noticing how my low back kind of lifts away. And then remember that right knee can be a little bit of a release valve there. And the hip flexor is kind of an interesting one because we see the psoas connecting from the lumbar spine, so the low back to the thigh bone. And if you think about that connection, if that muscle, it kind of connects to the front of the vertebrae of the low back there, right, to the thigh bone. So if that muscle kind of shortens or gets tight, it's actually going to create more of that lordosis, or that kind of curve in the low back. So to really target those hip flexors, hopefully you were feeling it as we kept the low back kind of dropping down, not into that lordotic curve, but kind of dropping towards the floor. We can really lengthen those hip flexors, where sometimes that tendency to be a bit more sway back can be from tight hip flexors. So come back to your breath, take another breath or two here. And then as you're ready, just gently release that right foot to the floor, bend up through the left knee, bring that left foot flat on the floor, and just taking maybe a final breath or two here in the supported bridge. Another option, which I talk about a lot, or I mention a lot, I think, is starfish, as I call it. As long as it doesn't pull or irritate the low back, you can stretch the legs out, maybe stretch the arms up overhead. Just feeling the body kind of draping over that prop, whether it's a block or a foam roller or a rolled up blanket. And then from here, bend through the knees, plant the feet if they aren't already there. Press into the feet enough, lift the hips, remove that roll from underneath you, or block, prop, whatever you have, and allow the hips to just find the floor there. Then keeping the feet fairly wide, they're about mat width distance apart or so. You're just going to find this windshield wiping through the legs. So I'm letting my legs rock side to side as I'm kind of rolling between the inner and outer edges of the feet. Maybe even sensing that the back of your hips, your pelvis can just kind of drop down into the floor as you rock side to side. And then let your knees drop all the way over towards the right side of the mat. And if you want to, you can wiggle your ribs over towards the right side as well. It might just feel a little bit more natural. And then let that left knee get heavy. And if you want a little bit more here, set your right ankle on top of the left knee. And as you do that, notice that you're not using the ankle on the knee to like press the foot down. You're just letting the weight of the leg add a little bit of extra sensation there through that outer left hip. You might feel this a little bit as well through that left side of the low back. But noticing here, we're not like forcing or tugging at our tissues to lengthen. We're just reminding them that not only can they can be like strong and able to engage and contract and move us, but they also have this capacity to be supple as well and allow for this full range of movement. And especially with surfing, that is so dynamic, right? We are in and out of the shapes, and it all happens so quickly. Our body is adjusting so quickly. We're moving in all sorts of directions as we surf. So at least for me as a surfer, in my experience, my goal more so has been to create this sense of suppleness, building this strength and this integrity to protect my joints and to be able to take impact and load, but also to be kind of cat-like and supple and not to be so gripping and rigid, but to also be able to be really fluid and adaptive and resilient as well. So take one or two more breaths here. Again, slow down the breath, smooth it out. We are done with the hard work. So giving yourself permission now to embody a bit more of that surrender. And if you have the ankle over the knee, just release that first. Maybe wiggle your ribs back to center, bring the knees back up. Maybe a few more windshield wipers could feel nice. I'm a big fan of these. And then as you're ready, let your knees drop over towards the left. And again, that right knee is going to kind of be hovering in space. You could wiggle your ribs a little bit to the left, maybe even kind of open up that right arm or let the gaze fall over that right shoulder, kind of like a twist. And then if you did it on the first side, if you're craving it on this side, left ankle can rest on top of the right knee. But again, you're not forcing the knee closer to the floor. You're just letting the weight of the leg add a little bit more sensation. Or almost like the weight of the ankle is just kind of encouraging those tissues to maybe soften their grip a little bit and not forceful. Just cultivating that sense of suppleness in the body and the tissues. Sensing that effortless length there over that outer right hip, right side of the waist, right side of the low back. And then coming back to the breath, and again, just letting the breath be nice and slow and sweet. And this practice of surrender that is also so crucial to surfing. There are moments in the water where we've got to dig deep and push ourselves and work hard, but then more often than not, there are times in the ocean where we really just have to let go of control or force and just surrender. The ocean is much more powerful than us, much stronger than us. And if we're ever caught in those situations where we're caught inside, or we're getting, taking sets on the head or getting pummeled by white water, the best thing we can do there is just to let go, surrender, let the ocean take us for a ride, do less, conserve our energy, so that when we pop up, when the ocean spits us out and lets us go, we can then kind of tap into that fuel, that energy, those reserves to again work hard and get ourselves, back out into the lineup or to the channel or wherever. Last breath here. Release that, bring the knees back up. Again, maybe a couple more really subtle, gentle windshield wipes could feel good, rolling over the back of the hips. Our last shape here together will be happy baby pose. So lifting the feet skyward, you can grab onto behind the knees, the ankles, the pinky toe edges of the feet, whatever you prefer there. And then maybe just starting out first with a bit more of an active happy baby, meaning that I'm kind of pressing my feet skyward and then counteracting that by using the hands to pull the knees down. So there's kind of this push and pull. Maybe feeling like you can kind of get your sacrum to the floor, maybe drop the chin a little bit, lengthen the back of the neck, the back of the head into the floor. And then we're just going to make this happy baby a little bit more passive. So grab a hold of the ankles or behind the knees if you aren't there already. Let your heels drop in. And again, let this be a little bit more passive. So the only thing actually kind of working here is the hands holding on. Then as you're ready, bring the knees together and give them one more good squeeze, maybe even lifting forehead towards the knees, taking a moment here to acknowledge yourself for showing up. Then as you're ready, stretch out for Shavasana. Take any variation of Shavasana really that you'd like. If you've got like a blanket or a foam roller, you could always kind of slide that under the knees there or behind the head. Allow yourself to take up space. Again, allow yourself to drop into this practice of surrender, letting go, doing less. Let's come back to the breath here. So next time you inhale, you're going to breathe in for a count of 3. Next time you exhale, empty for a count of 6. Inhaling 3. Exhaling 6. And then if that's feeling good for you, next time you inhale, inhale for 4. And let your exhale be a count of 8. And if at any time this more stretched out breath feels a little stressful, just take it back to the 3-6 ratio. But if it feels good, inhale 4. Exhale 8. And you can stay with that, or if you'd like to, maybe now inhale 5. Exhale 10. And if that's all feeling good, maybe you bump it up one more time, inhaling 6. And exhaling 12. And numbers themselves aren't really what's so important. It's more so maintaining this ratio of 1 to 2. So an exhale, double the inhale. And again, we want this to feel easeful and relaxing. So if it's stressful, just take the count back. But take 3 more complete rounds of this 1-2 ratio, whichever pattern you found felt the most soothing and nourishing. Depending on how slowly you're breathing, you might still have another round. But once you're complete with that final round, see if you can just gently let go of the breath and allow the breath to effortlessly find its way back into its own natural ebb and flow. And then if you have the time to stay, please stay. But if that's all the time you have today, then start to welcome some movement back into your body. Use that to help yourself press up into a seat. And if it's meaningful, maybe bringing the hands together over heart center. And then either way, bowing the head in towards the heart as if bowing the brain in towards the body. And as we always do in this practice, taking a final moment of gratitude for the practice in all its styles, shapes, forms, experiences, techniques, but this practice that has a way of bringing us back to ourselves each and every time. Reminding us that we are incredibly capable, highly adaptive, and brilliantly resilient. And with that, I'll leave you all there with my thanks for your practice and for your presence today. I hope you had fun with that one. I had a fun time creating that sequence and teaching it to you all, sharing it with you all. So if you haven't already, join the WhatsApp group, say hello. I'd love to hear from you all, where you're from, how's it going. But with that, I'm going to leave you guys there. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, wonderful rest of the week. Take care, blessings, and I'll see you back on the mat soon.